Okay, welcome guys. So, lot of questions come in over the last week regarding Norway, and as always, I've said that this is what this channel is about: is trying to help people out and show them what's what and hints and tips really on it's not just fishing but traveling and stuff like that when you're doing, because sometimes it can be a pain in the backside. And especially when you're doing things for the first time. Now, over the last couple of days, I've had guys messaging me regarding prices for trips and where would they go and what would they do. I can't comment on any other trips because I haven't been on. I've heard stories, as I said in the past video, regarding people charging like ridiculous money to go and fish Norway. And for those of you who haven't got the money to spend that still want to do it, you can do it cheap. Well, you say cheap, it's not going to be cheap, but it's going to, at the end of the day, you pay for what you get. I mean, it's a trip which I think everybody should experience once in their lives, and whether it's a case if you haven't got the money, saving up for a couple of years, booking the trip, getting your deposit down, and then just putting some money back each week or each month or whenever. I mean, just get a little Norway storage pot. And that's how we manage to do things all the time. I mean, the cost of living these days is a nightmare, isn't it? So that would be my advice to anybody who's looking to go. I mean, I would say cheaply we'll go through it now, but I think the trip of getting all my gear and stuff like that, it probably cost me, I reckon it cost me 1,500 quid, if I'm honest. I mean, we went and stayed the night before up there. You haven't got to do that, but I'm going to go through some general costings and stuff like that now, and obviously show you and help out those that wanted to do it. Now, I know personally there's a lot of different guides and stuff over that do different places in Norway and stuff like that. Me personally, I wouldn't bother with a guide. The reason being, if you stay in places, you should get a good gist of the area with the depth of water. My first bit of advice for anyone would be navionics. I mean, navionics played a big part in our trip, and I was fortunate and lucky enough to go with someone which been before. And to be fair, credit where credit is due, I had a lot of guys on Facebook, what I know, message me and send me different marks and locations and stuff like that. To be honest, I didn't get to try any of the locations really. I think some of them were generally on the radar for what Gav the fish before, and obviously Simon as well. Like, the good thing with Simon, the advice was free. It wasn't a case of that. We just stayed in the complex and that was all he done. I mean, each day he played a big part in our fishing, and basically said, "Look, if you did, obviously that probably could be worth a shout." At the end of the day, nothing's guaranteed, is it? But I got to give credit where credit was due, because he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, from, as I said, start to finish, and yeah, you don't. At the end of the day, as long as you know how to get to the venue and stuff like that, you don't necessarily need a guide, in my opinion. I mean, I've heard stories from guys where they were paying like £1,000 to go on top of their flights and stuff like that, each to pay for a guide. I mean, a couple of grand will pay for you to do the trip, you know what I mean? Personally, it wouldn't be something that I would be looking into. I mean, as long as you know how to fish, and an experience with fishing around very fast tides, rock conditions, deep water and stuff like that, personally, I wouldn't bother. Having said that, if you're looking to do that, then by all means, there's a lot of different guides and stuff out there which you can find on the social media and stuff like that, I would have thought, which would be happy to help you out and stuff. But if anybody wants to pay anybody to go and show them how to fish deep water and stuff, hook me up, because I'll be there. I'll even chuck a little video in there for you. But personally, the marks are there. You know what I mean? It's the marks aren't like any secret marks and stuff like that. I mean, Simon, we had a big chat with Simon about some of the venues, because he discovered a lot of them. And some of the places that he discovered, and he was trying to keep a little bit to himself. And obviously the trouble is, as soon as a picture goes up, people know, don't they? And it is what it is, I suppose, in a way. But personally, my advice to people would be, if you're looking to go and you're keeping the cost down, then so obviously you don't need to pay out for a guide. I mean, it's and it's just a space and that as well. I mean, personally, if you guide fishing, me when I was doing it many years ago, I would only ever fish one rod, because I don't feel you can fish two rods, and at the end of the day you've got clients, and you're supposed to be there for the clients, and it's good to put a rod out, because if anybody's not catching you and you catch a fish and stuff, at least they're at the end of the day, someone catches a fish you're in a group, everybody's part of that moment. And yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with fishing one rod and stuff like that, but I've heard stories from friends of mine what know their friends have paid a lot of money to go and do trips and stuff, and had the guides like getting over and basically fishing, and they paid them to fish at the end of the day, and they just paid them to take them to the venue. Which I think is a bit naughty in a way. I mean, if you like I said, if you're doing guiding and stuff, at the end of the day, the client should come first. And if you want to get a rod out, there's nothing wrong with getting rods out. But at the same time, your number one focus should be the clients. But it is what it is, I suppose. In a way, if it's not, it's going to be something what some people want to do, some people not want to do. I've included it in the talk because it was a question that I had come through this morning. Regarding it, so that's the answer to that question. But the first thing you want to do is look for a place to stay. Now, there's a lot of different places to stay in Bodo. I've not experienced all of them. I've only experienced one of them, and I can only recommend one. You know what I mean? I've not experienced staying at any other places. If any of the other places would like Sea Angle Adventures to come and do videos and stuff like that, and experience their sort of like fishing, give us a shout. I'd be quite happy to come along and cover your fishing accommodations and fishing around that area and stuff in Norway. Not a problem. But at the end of the day, all I can do is really focus on where I stayed and what I did and what we done. So really, your first thing is going to be to book it. So if for those of you that want to stay with Northern Norway shore fishing and accommodation, the first thing to do would be contact Simon with dates. I mean, there's certain dates which get booked out throughout the year, and the same anglers have those dates every year. We've just done the same. So I've got this certain block of dates now every single year for the next God knows how long. You know what I mean? Because you've got so many anglers that want to go there year in, year out, and at the end of the day, Simon's going to obviously cater and look after his loyal clients, isn't he? And yeah, that would be my first advice. So get in contact. They got a sea fishing page, Northern Norway shore fishing, and guide and accommodation, I think. The links we'll put in this video. 500 quid, and that's your accommodation sorted. So that's out of the way. So that's number one. Okay, you've got those dates now. A lot we've just booked for next year and the year after. So next year we go in with me and Gav, and then the year after that we book with me, Gav, and Yorkie. So they're in the diary then. You know what I mean? We ain't got to do nothing. And the good thing about that then, once I pay the deposit or whatever next week, those dates are set, those things are done, nothing else to do then. So all we've got to do basically is save up. So I'll probably get a little pot, you know what I mean, when you get some wages or something, just stick it in the pot or whatever and let it build up over time. It soon gets there. I mean, everything's not massively, I'm talking hundreds, I'm not talking thousands. So the next thing you're going to be looking at is your car hire. I can't, honestly guys, Rent a Wreck were fantastic. We're still waiting to get our deposit back, so I will give you an update on the deposit. But they were really, really good. And I mean, we left the van. It said that it can be used for fishing and stuff like that. So that's what it is. You're renting a wreck, but it's a good quality car or van, which reliable, which will get you around for the week, enable you to catch fish, and they're not too worried about the smell of fish and that afterwards. You know what I mean? Which is what you want really. I think all that in total, including the deposit, worked out about 400 quid each. But we'll get about 200 quid each back. So it cost us £200 each, about 400 quid for the car rental. So on top of that then, you're looking at that. So if I do overall price, it's 500 quid for the unit. You're looking at 400 quid for your car rental. So let's write this down, shall we, so we know where we are. So you're looking accommodation, it's 500 quid. You're looking at 400 quid car rental. It's down 900 quid to be split, don't forget. So it depends whether 2 or 3 of you go. It caters for 4. My advice wouldn't be to take 4. A lot of the marks I went to personally, if you've got 4 people on, it doesn't give you a lot of room to lure fish and stuff like that. I mean, me and Gavin had dedicated halibut rods, and we stuck them in certain areas, and then which enabled us to fish for with lures and fish with baited rods for targeting cod and pollock and stuff like that as well. Obviously, the halibut rods, really, what you're doing is trying to get fresh bait. So once you get fresh bait, you're filling it up and reusing it for bait, really. So you, like I said before, you're using foam and stuff like that. Not massive like amounts of foam, so sticking up the air with the halibut, but just to create a bit of movement. So it acts as like an artificial lure, basically. But you've got the scent of the fish. So you've got that sort of thing. So with more of anglers, 2's good. It gives you loads of room. 3 at tops, personally. So yeah, that's that. So that's the cost of thing. So you've got your flights. Now I think our flights were they were under 400 quid. I think they were like 300 and something if I remember correctly. So I would say around 400 quid you want to leave for your flights, right? Don't forget. You get certain luggage allowance with that. So with our luggage allowance, I was able to take. I don't know if you can see that one there. I was allowed to take that on the plane with me. So that was my cabin above my head, which I think you can have 8 kilos. My main bag, rucksack bag. I don't think there's no weight limit on that because it's a rucksack bag. So I had all my electrical equipment in that, and then I took a big suitcase hodl, which I had my wellies, my fishing gear and all stuff like that, and then we took a rod tube as well. So that's another thing, it depends how many rod tubes you've got to take. I mean, it's one of them really, isn't it? I mean, personally, if you're going over and you're going over just for an holiday, you need to take everything over with you. So looking at that, you want 2 rods, you want a lure rod and you want your tripod. So imagine that all in one rod holder. That's pretty much done your rod holder. So that you've got to pay for that each. And I think that worked out included in that 400 quid, if I'm honest. I think it was like 53 quid, and then like I think it was something like that anyway. I've got a cold. But yeah, so you're talking that with the flights. So you've got then in total, you've got your accommodation, you've got your car deposit, and you've got your flights. Okay, so if I put I put car, and I put flights. So basically, that's you ready to go. So if you take the 400 quid on top and you split the other one by 2, so really, if there's 2 people, let's base it on 2. That's the best scenario. Base it on 2 for a minute. So at the moment, so you're looking at 500 quid for your accommodation, split between 250. Car van hire 400, so you're splitting that between 2, so there's 200. So you've got 450, and then you've got your flight. So you're looking at about 800 quid. 850 quid. With obviously your fuel to go around for the week, and to be honest, to stay in overnight. You look at the night before. If you're travelling any distance and you haven't got an airport on your door, I would chuck that in the mix. So I would say for around £1,000 you can do that trip and book that trip, yeah? The rest of it then is down to you how you do that. So personally, there's a lot of different things you can do in there. I mean, I found it more expensive to buy stuff over there. So next time we go, we won't be buying stuff over there. We're going to take an extra cool box and load it with food. So if you've got that between 2 of you, I mean, an extra cool box, I think it's 53 quid to take. And you load it with food, so you chuck 30 or 40 quid's worth of food in there, right? So say 100 quid, right? That would be included in that £1,000, I reckon, as well. And you'd have all the food you needed. I mean, it was very dear over there for that. So that really, guys, is it. I mean, for doing the trip wise, that's all you need. And once you get to Simon's, you obviously you get to meet Simon and stuff like that. And as I said, a lot of the venues were very close. I mean, you've got the pier, you've got the Red House, you've got literally what you could use for night fishing if you want to go somewhere local for the night. It depends how much time you want to put into it. I mean, we were out all day and then coming back and then having something to eat in the garage and then going back out until the late evening. And we had the night session on the first night. So it is really one of them, guys. But personally, you're only there for so long. You got to hit it hard, haven't you? So that's pretty much it. I mean, all you got to do now is do the hard bit is pick up the phone or get on the computer and book your trip. I mean, get your dates in. That's the main bit of advice I can give. Trip, anything else wise, make sure you've got a good pair of waterproofs. You'll need them 100%. A good pair of welly boots, which is studded. You'll need a pair of them. And make sure, I didn't go mad on weights. I took 20 leads, and I've left 16 over there. So I hardly lost anything like that. So lead wise, I'll just take whatever you want to take. We wrapped them up and put them into the bazooka tube, and yeah, that was pretty much it. But guys, as I said, Northern Norway shore fishing, and yeah, that's who we stayed with, and I can highly recommend them. I mean, that's all I can do really. I know there's probably other places out there to stay, and people watch a video and say, "Oh, we've got them," or you can stay there and stuff like that. I've not experienced it, so I can't give you an honest view of that. All I can do is show you what we done and how cheap you can do it for, and hopefully a few of you have got some hints and tips there, and if we're booking, because I can imagine it being it first time going out with someone, it could be quite like, you know what I mean, a lot to take in and like look at and think, oh, what am I got to do? What am I going to miss? I mean, if you're going in the winter seasons, thermal wear 100%. I mean, and I mean heated socks. I've been over there in -18, and it's absolutely horrible, guys. You can't sit down or nothing because of the snow and stuff like that. It's a totally different experience altogether, the winter period. If you want big cod and that's when you want to be going, January, February. But to be honest, like summertime, you'd be in for some fantastic place fishing, halibut fishing, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, really. So I hope that helps. But yeah, that's basically a rundown of the trip. And yeah, I look forward to catching you in the next video. So I'm going to be doing something on... what else am I going to be doing something on? I've got a few things. Got the oval ring, and I've got a different size oval ring, and I'll go through the vernict of that in another episode. I've got a few bits and pieces. Someone else wanted me to do something on the talk about tip tornado, so I'll do that as well. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Tight lines. Until the next one.